All right, guys, welcome back. Sam is really excited. This is the part she's been waiting for. Today's the day that we put the painted bumper back on Project Sally. We'll slowly get it. Believe it or not, these speed nuts have been around for some time. They just cut their own threads. They actually use them on the 72 Camaros. I'm pretty sure the taillights on those cars use these. But now, these are different. I tried a accessory pack from my local auto hole and it wouldn't work. So I actually had to use the Ford ones on these. You don't want to over tighten these things, that's for sure. Snug is good. Remember, this goes in like this. Remember what a time we had getting this put in?
We had a time putting all of this in.
There it is.
Nice.
That look good?
Yeah.
You gonna be able to fasten that other side?
I don't know.
No, it ain't lined up. Take that thing back out a minute.
Yeah, okay.
There it is.
Yeah! It didn't break.
It didn't break. All right, guys, you have to bear with me. We're dealing with a new camera here. But right here, you can see the tabs that these things wedge in. And then when you push them, it wants to bend these in. But you just have to be real careful with it. We thought this side was actually going to break on us before we got it locked. It bends it to a certain point before it actually comes through. But it turned out really nice. So guys, now we're going to put the lower grill in. And this is a Ford OEM part. We've had it installed once. And it's actually a really nice part. But now there's one thing that has drove me crazy on this grill, and I didn't realize it was on the grill. So I have spent hours of research trying to figure out where the ambient temperature sensor mounts. And this is it right here. It's just laying loose in the floor right now. Everybody on the forums always said that it mounted to the front bumper cover, which it don't. They showed pictures of it and it looked like it did, and that's a reproduction bumper cover. It's not a Ford. And I was like, well, I'll just have to find somewhere else to mount it because this repo doesn't have the two little notches. However, when you look at the lower grill, this actually comes through on the bumper cover, and then that little sensor mounts to the grill. So I just figured that out the other night finally. And like I said, that little detail has drove me crazy. But let's see if we can't get this lower grill on the bumper cover. On this lower valance panel, you can see we've already put it together off camera. And you can see we've got some bolts and just some nuts holding it together. Same thing on this side. So that was another one of those things of countless hours of research trying to figure out the correct fasteners. I finally gave up and just went into my Camaro stash and got some Camaro bolts and nuts to put the lower valance on. So we've got the bumper still on the stand here to the side of us. We're going to get it off the stand, get it over to the car. Sam and I is going to go over a few things, and we're going to do our very best to get this bumper onto the car without scratching it or anything. So stick around. All right, here we go.
Stick around.
I'm going to get it off the stand, Sam. We're going to bring it over here, and we're going to set it on this Hannah Montana blanket on the floor. And all right, we've got two marker lights that's got to be plugged up. We've got this ambient temperature sensor that's got to go into the lower grille. And then when we start to actually put the bumper on the car, what I want us to do is just kind of push it up on this foam protector here. And I want us to kind of just work it in. Remember, it's got to go under these lights. That part of the bumper's got to fit under these lights. And then when we get to the edges, I'm not worried about getting these locked first. That'll be last. What I'm worried about is getting it around this part on both sides. We don't want to force nothing. We are dealing with painted surface. Hopefully it's flexible. It's got SPI epoxy primer under it. So we'll just have to take our time with it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna cut it off the stand first, and then we'll bring it over. I'm gonna pick it up, and like I said, we'll try to set it in place here just a little bit, and then we'll see about getting these parts connected. Go ahead and connect your plug down there. See how it goes. And I'm gonna go in one way where it'll click. There, I heard it click. All right. And then we set it out some.
That one doesn't want to go in.
I understand. You can understand.
Is there a lock?
I think it's broke.
Is there a lock pushed in that we gotta pull out?
There it is. All right, hold what you got. Here. Like I said, this has got to go up and over very carefully. All right, got that set there?
Is that on?
All right. It will be, hang on. All right, something's binding this. Hang on. There it is. All right. Now, look here, this stuff kind of come in. I think I know what's holding us. The something's holding us.
It's just gotta push it.
It's got to come in from the bottom, I think. Let me look underneath. Hang on. Like I said, let's don't get in no hurry. Oh, look here.
What?
It's holding there.
Is it connected?
No, on the frame. On that, it's holding here. There it is.
Oh.
It was holding on the waist bar. All right. Now hold what you got.
It's too high right here. It needs to point.
It needs to go over.
It's too high.
Guys, we got the front end on the car. Now, it didn't go on very easy. There was a lot of moments that were very trying, to say the least. But we've got it clipped in. We end up taking the inner fenders back out and then pushing them under the bumper. It was just too hard to pull the bumper around all of that. We're going to give you a close-up view on everything. And overall, we're pretty happy with the way it turned out. We're both relieved that we got it on the car without any major damage. Now, the only thing I've ever heard ever since we started on this car is, I want a pony package. I want a pony package. So we set out to buy a grill, which is pretty much what you get with the pony package. It's a different style grill. This one we bought new, and we bought it off of eBay, and it was about $140, and it came in broken. The corners are broken, and both corners. There are some tabs that are broken off of the back, and then just a lot of corrosion on the chrome here. We'll see if we can get this to focus.
I'll do a close-up of it.
There it is. So guys, as I was saying, we had to change the battery out in the camera, but all I've heard is, I want a pony package, I want a pony package. But you can just see the corrosion that is just all over this chrome. So once I saw the corrosion that was on the chrome, I was kind of scared to buy another one. Even if it arrived in good shape, I was just like, well, forget it. So after countless hours of dealing with people on Facebook Marketplace that would just kind of talk to me a little bit and then ghost me, I just finally decided to bite the bullet on one I'd been watching on eBay for some time. Sam, grab it. It's an OEM, it's a pony package, and it came with the actual pony emblem.
So now I got two.
So now it's time to get this thing installed. So that's what we're going to work on next. And also, guys, I know you're probably wondering, where can you get your own Hannah Montana blanket that we're working on top of? That's just something you're going to acquire when you're raising $2. So, but don't be eyeing my Hannah Montana blanket. I need it. Comes in handy. I actually use that for in the back of the truck when I'm hauling things and stuff. Going in, drop it down just a little bit. You're gonna have to drop it just a touch. Get your finger out of the bottom.
You pushing?
Yeah. Okay. Hang on.
Oh, we got water in here.
Mine went in. Yours go in? pressure. All right, see, check the rest of them. But they look like they're in. I was worried about this being in the way. I don't think it is. And you know what? Our gap looks right now too, with where we got our, remember we had that gap where we didn't have a cushion in it?
Yeah.
Let's do some cleaning on her. Let's get us a little rag and do some cleaning.
Pony package!
Pony package!
Ooh, that's good. Now we gotta put the wheels on.
Yeah, I know. Pony package. We got more than the wheels to put on. Hang on. I gotta say, I really like the way the pony package does look in this front bumper. You like it, Sam?
Mm-hmm.
All of them's in?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Sweet! The rear went in pretty easy.
Oh.
Next is the closeout panel. We have taken our label off and glued it to our new one. This is an aftermarket one. The other one was busted, and you can tell it's aftermarket just by how flimsy it is. It's like it's got wings and just wants to take off and fly. But we're going to get it on the car, and like I said, we'll bring you in for a close-up on all of this.
I didn't know you were recording yet.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Does this go underneath or over top?
It goes over top.
It does? I sure hope so.
This goes right there down in that hole.
I don't know, Red Bud.
Okay, maybe. Okay, yeah, it goes under.
I tell you guys, I hope I never see another push clip again after this project.
Front bumper cut.
Can you get it?
No, I'm not tall enough.
That's where the car's setting up. There you go. Okay guys, so our sticker that we glued, it didn't hold up. It ended up just coming right off. I kind of thought it might. I'm going to look for a replacement, although I already have, and I haven't been able to find it. So that being said, we'll probably just put it in the glove box with the owner's manual. This was actually one piece that I was glad was flexible, because it actually went underneath the front bumper. And I gotta tell you, that pony package grill really does look good. What?
I had the right idea with the pony package.
So everything turned out looking really good. These corners don't fit as well as I'd like them to. And we ended up taking the inner fender well back out and then just wedging it underneath. It was so much easier to do that versus trying to bend this all around. And we've got 2 new screws there. New lower grill. All this is new stuff. The bumper is a reproduction, and this side over here may fit a little bit better Again, we got new bolts. And we finally got the push clips, all that we needed in the front for the closeout panel. And really happy with the way it turned out. I'm going to take you underneath the car and show you the splash pan. That is one area that was all missing when we got the car. And I had a lot of trouble trying to figure out what was correct for a base V6. And I think I've got it. I never did find anything on it really. I just know that the part numbers are the same for the GT and the V6 models. I even went to my local dealer and they printed me out some sheets, but it didn't really have what I needed. And you know, just kind of winging it on this part, but it did fit. It looks like there's just 2 bolts that bolt up to the bottom of the bumper. And then we basically had to really pull the splash pan over to get the back 3 bolts in. And that may have been because it is an aftermarket bumper. We are still missing a shield, and that's a whole nother thing. 2010 actually just shows a plastic shield over the oil pan, while the 2011 models actually have a brace with the plastic shield over it. And I'll show you all that underneath the car. Let's check it out. So this is kind of hard to film, but you can see I've got 3 bolts here into the cross member for the back part of the splash shield. And then when you come over here to the front, here at the front, the base V6 just has 1 in the corner, and those other ones are left vacant. But that's the only thing that I can come up with. I don't even know if it's right. It does look right from this perspective, but honestly, I'm not sure. And then that shield that I'm missing will be between the splash shield and the actual K member. So that's something that I'm going to look into, and when we get the car up on the lift, change the oil and everything, we'll see about that. But overall, it looks right. Got the lower valance on the bumper. Block out plates. New signal lenses. Like I said, there's our new pony package grill.
You really like the grill.
I really like that grill. It looks a lot better than the regular one that was in it. So Miss Sam is going to close the hood now. Here you go. I'll hold it up till you put the rod down. Now that rod, it bends one way and then bends the other. You got it. Got it?
Yeah.
So when we first test fitted this bumper, we didn't have that foam cushion in it. And we actually had quite a bit of a gap underneath that grill. And that looks good to me now. And also something else that looks good to us is the gap that we have going across the front. It may be a little lower on the passenger side, but it still looks a lot better than most of these cars. Sam said that a lot of them have a huge gap underneath the hood. What was that?
The older they are, the more gap it gets.
Gotcha. So, and you can see here the fender fitment with the overall, I'm pretty happy with that. Kind of wish this was out just a touch, but it may relax once it gets out in the sun. Like I said, really happy with it. You can tell our hood's got a lot of battle wounds on it. But we're real happy with the way the paint matches with the hood to the bumper, and also with the bumper and the fenders. They seem to match. This fender was untouched as far as paint goes, and it really matches good. And the new wheels on the car really make it pop. So with that said, we're going to get this thing down on the ground, and really see what it looks like. This thing sits low. Here, go. Let me get this jacket.
That is low, though.
Yeah.
That's really low.
Guys, Project Sally really looks good. I'm gonna torque the wheels and we'll give you a look around. Really hope I've got that scissor lift over there set up by the time we change the oil, because this car sits really low. Okay guys, it's one step forward, two steps backwards with Project Sally. We've got her moved over here in my other bay while Sam's at school. And as you can see, I've got that real nice passenger side leather seat out. And I've got the original one back in, along with the red leather on the driver's side. Now, I did have to buy a nice scanner to be able to troubleshoot up to this point. This is a launch scanner. We're not sponsored by them, but it came off of Amazon. I think it was a couple $100 on sale. The other one that I have just reads basic codes. I couldn't read anything on the safety restraint module at all. But so far I really like this thing, and it allows you to share basically reports. So even though Sammy's in school, I can send her the diagnostic report of what I'm doing and keep her involved in the project as we're working on it down here. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. We'll see how it does. So as you can see guys, no airbag light. And I have put it in gear. So when we moved Project Sally over here, we noticed we had an airbag light on. And you can see it's on there on the dash. We've got a doors open light, engine light, and then that one closest to us on the left side is the airbag light. So we had a lot of codes in this thing, and with the passenger side original seat installed, our restraint control module is now saying normal. So guys, I had reached out to Safety Restore and told them that I did still have an airbag light on. They send a note here saying that if you get a U3000 DTC code, that's an internal failure of the SRS module. And that's the code we were getting. And so I was worried that maybe our module had bit the dust. They sent me an email back and said sometimes when these things are involved in a crash, even though you send it in and get it reset, sometimes they are damaged. And that's kind of what I was thinking was wrong. I was thinking I'm gonna have a whole new control module. And one of the things that they didn't know is I had changed the front seats out. And so I was actually doing some research on this code and found that a lot of guys were swapping seats out getting this code. And so I was like, well, you know, maybe it is something to do with the seats. Luckily, I had not sold the original seats and I was able to put the passenger side in. Otherwise, if I'd have not had them, I'd have probably been going down a rabbit hole of replacing the restraint control module, which was totally fine as it appears right now. So I miss the days of back in the day when you could just swap the seats out in a car. Evidently, that's not the case. We're going to have to figure out what we're going to do. Most likely we're going to have to either find somebody that can reprogram the computer for the seat that we have now, which in my area, finding somebody that knows how to do that is probably going to be pretty difficult. And I wish that's the direction I could go. It's probably going to be easier for me to take what I have and make it work with the red seats. I'm not sure at this point. I'm gonna have to go back and do a little bit more research, a little bit more deciphering. So, but at least we know we're on the right track. We know what we need to do. And I thought we'd already sorted this airbag issue out, and Sammy said we hadn't. I guess I had sorted it out in my mind, but not actuality. So, but anyway, wanted to bring you guys along for this. Sam is at school. I'm trying to get a few things ready for when she comes home for spring break. So hopefully we can get this thing buttoned up. So we got the original seat up here on the table. This is the occupancy mat here, and this module here looks pretty important. It's different. I'm not even sure what this is, but I think what I'm going to do, I'm definitely taking this part out, and I think I'm going to take as much of this wiring out as I can. We'll see about getting it all into the other seat. This is the other seat, and you can see here the modules are just a little bit different looking, and the wiring is a little bit different. Different plugs, different amount of wires to it. So I think we're going to have to pretty much make this one work. I'm a little nervous about how all this comes apart. You can see here I've already unclipped that, but it's a little intimidating just to say the least, and I got to get this right. Alright, we got the old occupancy sensor out of the original seat. Overall, wasn't too bad. I thought this part was going to have to come off, but it didn't. I did take the handle off. It's kind of like the old school Camaro window cranks. It's got a clip on it like that if you ever need to take that off. But this really didn't have to come off. So basically, this is the original occupancy sensor and the wiring harness, with the exception of the airbag for the original cloth seat. I didn't bring you along for that one over there, but I will bring you along for this one. We'll get the leather portion off. We'll get the old one out. And then what I think I'm going to do is basically integrate that harness over there into this one with all the new on it. The only thing, this will have to come off. This has also got a different bracket. I'm going to be mounting this one, and the only thing that I'm not sure of is the travel on this, if this would be in the way. You can see here, I don't think it would, but you never know. We may have to test the travel out before we take this thing apart, and that way we'll know if we got room to mount this. Worst case scenario, we could remove it from this bracket and then Velcro it somewhere. I really would like to have the bracket installed with the original one, and then maybe we can even use the original clip here. That's something we're going to have to decide on. And overall, it wasn't too bad to take out. Basically, you just got to get the seat loose. And then there's two green push pins up there. And once you get that loose, then basically the wiring and everything should come out with it. This piece way down in here, it loops around and it's part of this. So all that'll come out with it. I'll bring you along for that when we get there. The goal for tonight was just to get all the parts freed up. Alright, there's one more thing to address on this interior. I don't know about this. How would you like to look at that every time you open the door? This seems to be a common problem with Mustangs, and we're going to address it. I'm going to go ahead and see how hard it is to get these door panels off, and we'll bring you back and show you what we're going to do about that. Alrighty, one door panel off of Project Sally. Somebody had definitely been here before. Every time I go into a certain area of this car, somebody's already been here. And there was a few things that was broken on this panel. So basically this mount here that goes on top of the door panel, all that's missing. And if we come down to the bottom, that's what that should look like. I went ahead and pulled the rest of that piece of vinyl off because all of the foam was just getting everywhere. And then that little piece right there, there's a stud there that was broke. Pretty good little scratch right in this area. Like I said, this is not the best door panel. I would like to see if there's another one available. I'll probably look on eBay tonight. If not, we'll probably just run what we brung. Hopefully we can find something. It'd be a shame to fix this thing, but that's what we got. So we'll see what happens. What I thought was a scratch on the panel is actually some glue residue. So somebody has tried to glue this on already. So I'm going to have Sam work on cleaning this off if we can. I'm going to use a green scuff pad that hopefully won't scratch the plastic. And then she's going to be scraping all of this mess off. And then giving that board underneath there some tooth so that we can glue our new panel on. This is probably one of the not so fun jobs of the project right here. All right, guys, look who finally decided to show up. Huh? What?
Said I'm in the garage.
All right, guys, look who finally decided to show up. In from spring break, ready to work on her car. Didn't think we was gonna get that out. I mean, I don't really need this one. I can't remember what year this seat came out of. I think it was a 2013. But I still don't want to be tearing up stuff. I could have cut it, but I didn't want to break it. Give you a close up. And I think this has got fluid in it, and it's like pressure, I think, is how it determines whether somebody's sitting in the seat. So that's it. And this is the one that came out of our original seat. One thing I can already tell is that this is a lot shorter. It goes in like this. So this is a whole lot shorter. So there's no way it's going to go the original way in this seat. Most likely, it's going to come up. I'm going to have to probably put this module on some Velcro. I won't be able to use the bracket, I bet. Guys, it's the next day and we're really into this. We're actually going back together now, and I figured out what to do. I did mount this seat module here with Velcro up in this area where the original one kind of was. I've also tested the movement, and basically these tracks, they'll move on these threaded rods. Also, it won't go no further down than it is now, but it does come out. Now, my occupancy sensor right here on the new pad is definitely shorter on the actual connector part. So I'm not able to run it up here where it would normally connect. So what I'll end up doing is extending these electrical wires down, and then we'll mount it somewhere down here. I'll figure that out last. In a previous episode, I had said that everything was wired the same, and really it's true color for color. They did match up on the right pins and everything. However, the 2010 has this extra seat module for the airbag, whereas the seats here, which I think are 2012 or 2013, they just basically had the occupancy sensor wiring plug, and I'm guessing there's a module somewhere else in that car. So basically I've done a comparison, and what I've got to do, I'm going to take these wires where they match up on the plug, and I'm going to integrate them to this plug here. So I'll mount this last. I'll get my wiring down here, enough slack and everything, but I need enough slack so that when this is forced down, the seat actually raises, and I'll need enough slack for that. But I hope this is going to work. I think it will. We're going to be soldering and heat shrinking. We'll see how this goes. And as I'm doing this, I'm going to do it one at a time, and I'm going to double check my list, my notes. And that way, hopefully I don't make an error on this. This is one area I got to get right. Let's get started. the forward and back doesn't really matter because it's just this part traveling. Where you got to be careful at is the tilt and everything, because as you can see, there's a lot of space in here now, which this is maxed out, but you've got to be careful. Like where I had it before, it was definitely going to pull it loose. I'm pretty sure that's fluid filled, and if it breaks, it's done. So you just got to be careful about that. Now if I'm adjusting it all the way in, this is all the way in on the back. That's all the way in on the back. This is tilting it toward the front more. And then that's all the way. And I don't really see anything stressed. I think I'm all right where I've got it. It's been a pretty good little job. I got 2 days off and on wrapped into this thing. I think I'm gonna get this in the car for now. I'm not gonna be able to test it today. We got 50 to 60 mile an hour winds today, so I don't want to be opening up the garage door and just letting the wind blow everything around. I'm going to try to get this back in the position that I remember it being in, and that way I can get it bolted back to the car. I know it was all the way down because I had trouble getting these out, so I think this is the way it was. We'll get it bolted up, we'll get it hooked up. I feel pretty good about the wiring on it. I've double checked it, I've triple checked it. Like I said, I really need this to work to keep the airbag light off. And hopefully this is it. The only thing that I really regret, I pretty much ruined that other passenger seat by doing this. I needed the parts out of it. I pretty much mutilated the harness that went with it. The only thing that I've got left, I've still got some of the connectors for the seat belt, the airbag's still in it, manual tracks. You know, I'm not sure if that thing's going to be good to anybody or not. It might would be if somebody was just putting it in an older car or something and they wanted it, it might would work. I may still try to sell them, I don't know. So this here's where my occupancy sensor is, and like I said, this is some of the wires that I extended. This is the main harness coming down to the main plug for the car. This is pretty much how I did my power. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, way back in another episode. But like I said, you're not going to see none of this. It's going to be under the seat. I sure hope it works. Like I said, it'll probably be a day or two before I can test it with the winds we got, but I will have to tighten up one of those back bolts. I just don't have enough room with the position of the seat, but I'll need the power to do that. So I got a mess to clean up. I'm gonna do that, and when we get ready to test this, we'll bring you along. Also, Sam is supposed to come out and work on the door panels. So she's been doing some schoolwork today, and I'm waiting on her to do that. So we'll bring you along for that as well. All right, guys, Miss Sammy's back at school. Spring break has come and gone, and she was only here for a week. And you know, time flies when you're having fun. We were able to get our door panels prepped for our new panel, and I'll show you that. We did get the seat installed. You guys seen us working on that. Everything's good on that. We were able to test it. We also did some more checks on the car. We're finding a few little things, like the rear marker light wasn't working, so I ended up taking it apart and actually got to pull part of the rear bumper just to get that thing out. At least that's the only way I could get it out. And when I got it out, it was actually busted, so I ordered a new one of those. I have it installed now. We replaced the sun visor. We didn't film any of that. It's just kind of hard to film with the lighting over there on that side, and it's pretty windy here, so I didn't want to open up the garage doors. But she is back at school. We had some other projects to get done on her daily driver as well while she was here. We had to put brakes on it, and we got that done, so all is well. I did ask Sammy, I said, what do you want to do about these door panels? Do you want to wait? And she said, no, for me to go ahead and get these done so the interior of the car will be done. So I'm going to be working on these door panels. I've got to charge the AC system, and I've got to get this scissor lift set up. That way when she gets home, the only thing we got to do is an oil change, and I want to figure out part of this splash shield system underneath the car. There's some things changed around 2010, and 2010 is kind of a 1 year only for these S197s is what I'm finding out. But I've got a couple different shields that we can try, but I really need to get the car on the lift for that. So on the door panels, there's a company called Coverlay, and they basically make a replacement part, and that's the back of it. And it's pretty much color matched. I mean, they sent me a sample, and I tested it to the seat, and it's pretty close. This is that old piece that we ripped off, and you can see the foam backing on it. And they cut these as close as they can get them to go in this little section here. But one thing that I noticed, it's just a little small, and in some places I was still seeing this this old backer panel. In some places you could still see the gray, and in some places you could still see like the cream color where the foam was, the glue and the foam. And I didn't like that, so what I did, I taped it up, and I was going to just shoot a little black around the edges, and that way when it's in the car, if you was to see just a little area behind it, maybe it would all blend in. It wouldn't be so noticeable. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So you can just see here the color of this. When that overlay piece goes in here, you can still see some of this just in certain places. It's not bad, but like I said, I'm just gonna go around the very edge and just put a little black around it. We'll do that one the same way. We'll let it set a day or two before we actually glue them in. So I'll tell you a little story about Sammy. We was working on these brakes for her Buick, and which is her daily driver to and from school. And we had some trouble. We kind of got dealt a mess when I took the lug nuts off, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, when we was putting the brakes on, she said, you sure do work on this Buick a lot different than you work on the Mustang. And I said, well, there's a difference. I said, we need this Buick today, and we've got to get it done. I said, if we have problems with the Mustang or we get frustrated, we just go in the house. I said, the Mustang is just kind of a toy, but we've got to have this daily. So, and she just started laughing. So I thought that was pretty funny. But anyway, let's get started on these door panels. Try to glue it with the access, a lot of it being down toward the bottom. Like I said, it's got a little wiggle room in here, but I would like to have it kind of tight up around the top part, because that's really the part you'll see the most of. Right in this back area, I might split the difference a little bit. I think that's going to look good. Let me give you a look. Oh, we're upside down, but you'll at least get an idea. And then you can see here, you can see that little bit of grade now, and it's going to blend in with the door panel. That actually worked pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other one ready, And like I said, I'll probably let that sit overnight and just let it cure up before we start putting any glue on top of it. But pretty happy with the way that turned out. This is the glue that I'm going with. It's Gorilla Glue Max Strength Clear. That's what we're going to use. I'm just going to run a bead around it. And we'll leave it alone at this point and just walk away. It says it takes 8 hours to cure, and I'm gonna leave it like this. I think I'm just gonna do one. I'll clean this nozzle out, that way the glue gun will be ready to go. But let me show you what we've got. All right, so as you can see, we've got the Coverlay piece laid in here. It turned out really good. I did get a little bit of glue on it, but I got it off. In the process, I spilt the goo gone. You just want just a touch of that stuff. I was worried it might take the color out, but it didn't. Probably went a little too heavy on the edges. That's kind of where I got it. When I do the other side, I'm gonna double the gloves up. Like I said, I've got these dollies sitting on here for weight. Still got just a touch of movement, not much. I got a pretty good bead of glue on there though. So hopefully, once that glue sets up, we'll be good. Gonna let this set for a while. I'll probably let it set till about 11 tonight. It is 5:30 now, and I may just leave that on overnight. I'll come out and check it. I definitely don't want to put no depressions in it, but I don't think that I will. We'll let that set. I'll glue the other side, and I'll see you back at the car when it's time to put the panels in. Guys, Miss Sammy is home for Easter weekend. We're going to go ahead and finish up our door panel install. We did order some new screws because for some reason the driver's side was just put together with some Phillips screws, and the passenger side actually had the correct fasteners. So I've ordered the correct fasteners. We have them in, and now it's time to get these updated door panels on Project Sally. So this driver's side door has had a rough life. We had to glue it in several places. Again, all the original fasteners was gone, and we worked quite a bit on it, and it's presentable now. So this area right here is the area that I glued, and I got a little happy with the epoxy and actually glued over the hole that this little clip snaps in. These door panels pretty much complete the interior restoration on this car, along with our occupancy sensor switch out in the passenger seat. Guys, that's going to conclude our part 9 episode on Project Sally. We couldn't get it all done in one single video, so we split it into 2 parts. You want to stick around for the next one because part 10 is our final video of this series, and we'll be doing a test drive and a final cost reveal for the whole project. I do want to address the elephant in the room. We started this project with 3 of us, and now we're down to 2. I do want to let everybody know that Griff ended up moving, and his family ended up moving down south, so he's no longer been with us for the build. Next time, Sammy's going to date a guy that drives a Camaro.